Welcome! In this explainer, we are going to tackle a question that, let's be honest, trips up pretty much every foreigner when they first land in South Korea.
So picture this. You've just met someone, the conversation's going great, and then, bam, they hit you with, "So how old are you?" I know, it can feel really awkward, maybe even a little nosy, right? But here's the thing. In Korea, that's not a sign of disrespect. It's actually the complete opposite. It's a huge signal that someone wants to connect with you.
So, what is this obsession with age all about? Well, it's not about being nosy. Think of it more like they're activating a secret cultural code, a kind of social operating system that's all about respect and figuring out how to talk to you properly.
Okay, so at the very heart of all this is a concept called jondatmal, which is the Korean system of honorifics. Asking your age is kind of like asking for a password. It immediately tells a Korean person which language filter they need to switch on, so they can show you the right level of respect, whether that's formal or casual.
Here's a simple way to think about it. To know whether they should say a formal hello or just a casual hey, a Korean person first needs that key, and that key is your age. It literally unlocks the entire communication system for them. Without it, they're kind of flying blind, just hoping they're not accidentally being rude.
And this really gets to a massive cultural difference. In many Western cultures, we put a huge emphasis on individual privacy, but Korean culture is really built around the idea of community. So asking your age isn't about judging you, it's about figuring out where you fit in the group so everyone can get along harmoniously.
This whole desire for connection is tied to this beautiful, uniquely Korean idea called jung. Now, it's a really deep concept, but you can think of it as this warm, emotional bond that connects people. Asking your age, that's often the very first step to building this jung and welcoming you into their circle.
And this age thing comes with a sort of social contract. If you happen to be the older one in the group, you're kind of expected to be the generous giver, paying for the coffee, offering life advice, and if you're younger, you get the privilege of being taken care of. It's this whole system of mutual care and responsibility.
All right, so you've been asked your age, you've established who's older, but now what? What do you actually call this person? Let's get into the practical side of things.
These 4 words right here are basically your fast-track pass to creating a family-like bond, even with total strangers. Using one of these terms instead of someone's name, well, that's a huge sign of closeness. It's almost like you're being unofficially adopted into the family on the spot.
Look, if you're ever unsure, the most important thing you can do is just ask. A simple, "How should I call you?" Or even asking, "Is it okay if I call you Oppa?" shows that you care and you're trying to respect their culture. Trust me, they'll almost always appreciate the effort.
Now, let's talk about a few cultural landmines you'll want to avoid. That "ya" you hear in K-dramas? Yeah, save that for your absolute closest friends. And calling someone by just their last name like, "Hey, Kim," that's a major no-no. You're always better off using their full name or, for extra respect, adding the suffix nim.
Okay, let's switch gears and head to the workplace. This is where the rules get a little more complicated and the stakes, well, they're a little bit higher.
Here's your simple 2-step rule for surviving the office. First, and this is the most important, job title is king. A younger manager is still your manager, period. But if you and a coworker have the same job title, that's when age steps in as the tiebreaker to figure out who has seniority. And this one is a big deal. I don't care how close you become with a colleague, how many after-work drinks you have, you never, ever use those casual family-style terms like unni or oppa in the office. It's just seen as really unprofessional.
So what do you do instead? Easy. You stick to their job title followed by nim. That's a respectful suffix. Or for a slightly more modern but still totally respectful vibe, you can use their first name followed by nim. It really strikes that perfect professional note.
But, culture is never frozen in time. It's always changing. So how are younger Koreans, the MZ generation as they're called, starting to shake up these old traditions?
You're going to find that younger Koreans are way more flexible. A 1 or 2 year age difference, they might just brush it off and say, let's just be friends. There's also this really strong movement to avoid becoming a kondae. That stereotypically bossy, I'm older so I know better kind of person. Genuine connection is starting to matter more than strict hierarchy, especially with their foreign friends.
Okay, here is a super practical tip that will make your life so much easier. When someone asks your age, just tell them the year you were born. That's the standard way to do it, and it avoids any confusion with international age versus the traditional Korean age system, which is all based on your birth year anyway.
And hey, if you're ever feeling like the honorifics are a bit too formal and you'd rather just be friends, you can try out this very cool, sophisticated phrase. Most young Koreans will totally appreciate the directness, and will probably say yes.
So, let's bring this all home. The next time someone in Korea asks for your age, try not to see it as a nosy question. See it for what it really is, an invitation. It's the key they're handing you, a key to unlock deeper connections and to be welcomed into this incredibly intricate and warm web of Korean relationships.